Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mindful Monday. If it's your first time here, you're welcome to put where you're coming from in the comments. If you have any questions, you're welcome to DM or place them in the comments as well. If you have a topic you'd like to hear covered, please same thing, DM or put it in the comments. And if it's your first time and you would like to receive our weekly PDF cheat sheets, which are kind of a list of what we cover today, then you'll just write mindful in the comments and we'll get it to you. So today we're here to talk about how to use self-havening to lower stress, to release traumas, to reach your goals, release fears, phobias, all the good stuff. And so what is havening or self-havening? So it's an alternative therapy that was developed or at least released in 2013 by Drs. Ronald and Stephen Rudin. It's very similar to EFT or tapping, emotional freedom technique, in that it involves bilateral stimulation. So when we have something like a fear or trauma that kind of is bothering us, it tends to get stuck in one of our two hemispheres of the brain. And if we use both hemispheres of the brain, sometimes that'll release things. And that can be done by walking, by tapping, by using both sides of the body. We'll use both hemispheres of the brain. So it is also going to include the use of therapeutic touch, and this results in, according to the doctors, releasing serotonin, and this assists us in soothing and reprocessing any distressing memories, thoughts, events, compulsions, fears, phobias, etc., etc. So it can be done on yourself, or it was originally developed to be done by a facilitator on a person. So it can be done self-havening or havening with a facilitator. So what can it be used for? So it can be used for halting or easing things such as panic attacks, fears, phobias, PTSD. It can halt and reverse the long-term physiological and psychological effects of those adverse childhood events or experiences known as ACEs. It can heal emotional and psychological the emotional and psychological residue that's left over from a traumatic experience. It can release inner blocks that are stopping you from achieving your goals. It can enhance performance in business, in sports, in creative or performing arts. It can build resilience. It can reduce the impact of chronic stress. It can lower our emotional reactivity. It can relieve emotional distress, and it can reduce and eliminate the emotional components that are involved in the chronic pain. So there's going to be 3 different parts to the technique. The first one is going to be touch, and there's going to be 4 types of touch. One of them will involve touching your face, so if you're watching, you might want to wash your hands if you have any kind of stuff on your hand. So one will just be, you can rub your hands together like this or like this, so that's one of the techniques. The other one, some people stroke down. I was taught to do circles, so it's down and then up, so that's your arm circles is what I call it. And then there's one that's the center of the forehead out. Some people do it more along the hair, some people do it more on the forehead, but it's outwards. And then there's the under the eyes. Okay, so those are the 4 different touches. So you have, in no specific order, the arm circles, the forehead, the under the eye, and the hands. And so basically, there are 4 foundational processes, and it's very similar if you're into hypnosis as the meta model, which is associate into the problem, disassociate out of the problem, and then kind of create some shifts and stack the positives on top. So the 4 foundational processes in havening or self-havening are going to be activation. So we want to get into the negative state again, the negative or distressing state. And then distraction. The distraction is going to engage the working memory, while the healing touch that's going on is going to depotentiate what's been negatively encoded in the brain. And then the transpiration part is where we depotentiate the associative memory networks, because we're associating a certain thing in the present with something from the past, which is this is not that kind of thing. And then the 4th one is the amplification. Just like in the meta pattern, it's bringing the positives into it. And that means, you want to amplify the positive desired emotional state. So there's going to be 5 core applications according to the doctors. And the first one is to reduce stress or the allopathic load. The second one is to boost positivity and resilience. The third is to engage a specific outcome, that's your goals. The fourth is to diminish present moment distress, so any of those fears, phobias kind of things. And then the fifth one is the traumas, to depotentiate a traumatically encoded memory. All right. So there were 7 original havening types or techniques, however you want to call it, that the doctors developed. So the first one would have been the event or the memory. Another one would be outcome, which would be imagining a specific outcome or goal. Another one would be transpirational, and this in my mind is kind of like a cognitive diffusion, because they would have you kind of repeat a word, or well, really a phrase, because it's an adjective, like I am angry, over and over, or sad or fearful, whatever it is. But it would be in the adjective, not the noun, until there was a shift that occurred. Because obviously if you say I'm angry over, it's like saying milk, milk, milk in cognitive diffusion. Sooner or later it's not going to have much meaning. The next one would be affirmational. And this would be definitely, the 7 that were originally were with a facilitator. So the client, the person who wants the shift to be done, would be repeating affirmations such as I am confident, and then the facilitator would say you are confident. So there's the dual affirmations in the first person and the second person. Then there was the informational, which was using what if questions. So it's kind of like the miracle question in hypnosis. It's so similar. So what if I experienced more peace? Or what if I was experiencing what would it be like if I experienced more confidence, kind of thing. More peace, and whatever it is the client or the you want. The next one would be hopeful havening. I like the sound of that. And so basically this is again a 2-person kind of version. So the client's going to say hopeful, and then they'll be repeating hopeful, but it's interspersed with the facilitator saying positive kind of relevant affirmational statements in between each time, such as so the client would say hopeful, facilitator would say I finally let this go. Client would say hopeful, and facilitator might say something like this nightmare is over now. Client would say hopeful, and facilitator would say change is possible for me, back and forth. So it'd be I can begin a new chapter, things are really changing, those kind of things. And so let's see, we talked about transpirational information. Oh, and then we have the role havening. And so this is more like parts therapy, so it's a little hard to explain, but basically the client is going to be processing, communicating with either a part of themselves or in their mind with a troublesome person that they had conflict with. So again, this would be done with a 2-person kind of model. All right. So are there any contraindications? So I mean, with anything, there's cautions or contraindications. So I'm not going to say don't ever do this, but you might want to seek medical advice if you suffer from dissociative identity disorder, if you're if you're having suicidal ideation or thoughts, any kind of serious instability. Folks that are a little bit dissociated, or if you have bipolar, you might want to talk to a doctor. Certain compulsive disorders, so or an inability to access names or emotions, that kind of thing. You definitely want to see a licensed therapist or a doctor about this kind of stuff before you would do it on your own. So how do we do it? All right. So basically, if you want to do it with me, make sure you're not driving a car or operating heavy machinery, watching children, anything that involves your conscious care there. But if not, and you're free and available, then you would think of a distressing thought, an event, a memory, a feeling, a compulsion, whatever it is for you. So you might name that feeling or whatever it is, and then you would rate it on a scale we call the subjective units of distress. So rating it on a scale from 0 to 10, and 10 is the worst ever. All right, so kind of get a feeling for that if you're doing it with me, and then I'll invite you to close your eyes now. And we're going to start that rubbing the arms, so those arm circles now. And you'll, in your mind, visualize walking up 20 stairs. And with each stair, any distress, desire, or compulsion gets lower and lower, and you're moving more and more into feeling safe, peaceful, and calm. So you'll count from 1 to 20 out loud. So it's 1, 2, visualizing going up the stairs, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, moving up, 8, getting farther and farther away from any distressing events or feelings, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good. You can continue to move your arms, circling those arms now as you hum twice, row, row, row your boat. So, and then take a deep breath, open your eyes, and now move just your eyes all the way over to the right, and then move just your eyes all the way over to the left. Take another big breath in, close your eyes down, and rate your subjective units of distress, again, from 0 to 10. Just kind of noticing where they are. And then take another big breath in, open up your eyes, and we'll repeat the whole thing, steps. I'm glad you're not driving if you're doing this with me. So steps 2 through 4, only this time we're going to do the face havening, and we can do there's not a specific order, but we'll do the forehead one, so moving outwards. So close your eyes, and again, you're moving up your flight of stairs. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, each step taking you more and more, 11, towards your desired state, 12, whether that be peace, 13, calm, or anything else, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, moving up to that top, 20 stair, 20, and keep moving your hands now as you hum your little song. And then another big breath in. Exhale it out. Gently open your eyes. Move them all the way to the right, just the eyes. And then all the way to the left. Close your eyes back down. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale it out. And rate your subjective units of distress from 0 to 10 again. Perfect. And we'll move into round 3, which is the under the eyes. And so stroking outwards as you begin to climb your stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, moving up, 11, away from any distress, 12, 13, more and more, 14, towards 15, your desired state, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. At your top step now, continuing with the hand movements, humming your little song. And then another nice big breath in. Let it go. Gently open your eyes. Move just your eyes all the way to the right. Just your eyes all the way to the left. Close them back down. Take another big breath in. Exhale it out. And rate your SUDs from 0 to 10 again. Okay. And then we'll do our final one. And so you'll be climbing your stairs again. We're going to do the hand movement this time. So eyes are closed, but you can move your hands this way or this way, but rubbing your hands. I like to circle mine. Counting as you move up the stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, closer and closer, 6, 7 to your 8 desired state, 9, 10, moving farther and farther away, 11, 12 from any, 13, distressing, 14, 15, thoughts, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 on the top step now. Continuing the hand movements as you hum that row, row, your boat. And then another nice big breath in. Let it out. Open your eyes. Move just your eyes all the way to the right. All the way to the left. Close them back down. Take another nice big breath in. And then notice where your subjective units are now from 0 to 10. Nice. And then coming on back to the room. So generally it gets lower and lower with each time. Of course, you could practice this more than one time. Humming also stimulates the vagus nerve. If you wanted to, you could sing. You'd still be singing the vagus nerve. I am not a good singer, so I like the humming. So we got the bilateral stimulation. We've got the vagus nerve activation. Of course, there we're moving towards visualizing, imagination. So all kinds of good stuff going on here. So very useful technique, and of course if you still felt your subjective units of distress were a little bit high, you could continue to do this. There's not really a specific song. You could hum the ABCs or sing the ABC song. You could do the hand motions in any order. If you didn't like the staircase, you could, visualize walking in a forest, down a path, all different kinds of things. So you could really use your own creativity. Some folks use color. There's all kinds of different things. And basically, you kind of get the gist. It's a distraction, imagination, a little bit of counting, the bilateral stimulation, the vagal nerve stimulation. So great stuff. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments or DM me, and make it a wonderful Mindful Monday.